Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to my lovely stream. Alright, so just checking a few things, making sure everything's working properly, making sure that I'm not dropping any frames, making sure the stream quality is good and all that. Move the window for a test real quick. Alright, looks like it's working. Cool. Alright, so hi everyone. So this is going to be basically my development log journey through game development and engine programming. So essentially, this stream, I'm gonna try to stream every day. I don't know how viable that is, and I don't know if that's doable or not. So my goal is to be able to learn Vulkan, right, and create a game engine from scratch using C++. Right, that's literally my goal. And this live stream is going to be basically me learning Vulkan on stream, reading all this stuff, and just writing up the engine and the code. So this is kind of, you can think of it as a diary for myself and for whoever is interested. I mean, it'll be boring at times because I'm gonna be reading stuff. I'll be talking and explaining stuff as much as possible, but it might be a tad boring, but that's fine because really the goal of the stream is just so I can sit down every day, learn Vulkan, and just build the engine. Now, just a quick recap. I've already built a game engine way back, like way back. Built a game engine in OpenGL, and if I go to my GitHub, it's called Blue Flame engine. I've had it on a different account. Oh, I have one star. Cool. I've had it. I think that's my star. Is it my star? No, it's not my star. I've had this on a different account, and I used to have like 150 stars, something like that, and then I moved it, and it was a whole thing. But this is essentially an engine that I worked on, and I was finally able to draw or render the Sponza scene. That was a huge achievement for me back then. Right, so it's an engine I was able to use or write up in C++. It supports DirectX 11, OpenGL. I rendered model using FBX, and I made a bunch of tools and things in GUI and networking and a whole bunch of things. This took me like 3 years of learning stuff to be able to make it. Now, if I go and remake it, I think I'll be able to do that in 2-3 months. So if I would go and rewrite it, which is great and all. So I've, that out of the way. I already written an engine at some point in my life. I'm gonna redo it with a brand new API Vulkan. Now, why? Why not just use Unity? Why not just use Unreal? Well, I despise Unity in ways you can't even imagine. That engine is, how can I how do I put this politely? It's dog shit. All right, Unity is trash. And the reason I say that, and here's the thing, I love Unity. I use Unity on my daily basis, right? It's an engine I actually make games with, but I'm trying to move away from it. Even though it has a lot of useful functionality, and it makes the whole game development process much easier and faster. It is fucking trash compared to what I can do myself, right? The engine, every release, it is slower and slower and slower. Since 2017, since version 2017, it's been getting progressively slower. Um, and it's just it's it's horrible. Okay. I've had the engine freeze up on me for a bunch of times. The editor is and I have a pretty good computer, like a really good computer in comparison to, well, what I have. Like, I have a 1950X 16 core CPU running at 3.7 gigahertz, 64 GB of RAM. There's no reason. Yes, it is a first generation Threadripper. Yeah, I mean, there are much better processors right now, but this is a beast in terms of performance, right? And so there's no excuse for Unity to take billions of years to do something, and I'm just getting tired of it. So basically, we're right now moving to Unreal. I would like to move to Unreal and use Unreal, right? But my end goal is to build my own game engine and use that and develop that further and build my own games on my own game engine. I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait 8 9 hours to switch from, if I want to switch from Windows platform to in Unity engine speaking, if I want to switch my game, the build platform from Windows to Linux, I don't want to wait 5 6 9 hours for all the textures to be re-imported. That's absolutely garbage. And I know there are solutions that just I don't want to deal with that. So that's my reasoning. Unity is dog shit. Unreal is, haven't used it. Um, and I'm just sick. I am just so sick and tired of softwares taking years and years to do just a simple thing, right? There's absolutely no reason for Photoshop to take a full minute or even 30 seconds to open for the first time. Why? Why, if I go Photoshop, why do I have to wait 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17? Why do I have to wait 18, 19 seconds for this to open? Why? Like, that's just not acceptable, in my honest opinion. And this is running on an SSD. Why does Unity take all that time to open a brand new project? So if I go to Unity, I don't know. I just press Unity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It took like 6, 7 seconds to open. Just freaking Unity Hub. Are you kidding me? If I open a new project, I don't know. Let's do 2020.3.15. Let me go and say, I don't know. Sure, project 1. 3D. Alright? It's retrieving a list of available templates. What? Why does it take so long? Why? Okay, I guess it's fetching it from the server? Alright, sure. Okay, that's fine. But anyways, here. I'm sick and tired of counting. Let's get a counter. Counter. Stopwatch. It's called the stopwatch. Cool. Let's create, start. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, shut up. You can see the counter. Ah, lovely. Oh, let's see. Let's see. So it's copying template library. All right, cool. This is running on an SSD. Sorry, an NVMe. All right, I'm running on a 970 Samsung 970 Pro NVMe. But is it 970 or 870? I think it's 970. Let's just double check. Take your time, Unity. Yeah, take 40 seconds. Take your time. Where's my C drive? Yeah, it's a Samsung 970 Pro. Cool, fantastic. Let's see. Oh, 50 seconds. We're still in to open a brand fresh new project. There's nothing in the project. It's taking 6 seconds. All right, that's importing stuff. That's oh cool. It gives you a little bit of a timer. It's not that accurate. It's 10 seconds behind, but sure, why not? All right. It's fantastic work. Yeah, a minute 12 seconds, a minute and 15 seconds. Yeah, sure, take your time. It's not like I have anything to do. Oh, fantastic. Oh, you decided to open. Oh, that's great. Jeez, fantastic. Really? Do I really have to wait a minute and 20 seconds for this to open? Does this seem realistic to anyone at all? Legitimately. For an engine to open for the first time. A minute and 20 seconds. Why? It just... Yeah, so I'm tired of this engine. I'm legitimately exhausted of using Unity. Before Unity existed, around the year 2012, 2011, I would use XNA and Monogame, right? XNA, Monogame, right? I would use, and then I moved on to OpenGL. Like, compare this to just opening a Visual Studio. Yeah, Visual Studio is also slow, but you know, I don't have to wait all this long. And this is not just about startup time. This is about if I want to go to file, and this is this is going on a rant, by the way. Why I'm doing this? Just excuse me for that. But if I go to Windows and I want to, I don't know, switch to Universal Windows platform or iOS or Android, right? If I want to switch to any of these platforms, let's say I'm building an Android game and I switch to it and I have a bunch of textures, it has to re-import all the textures, resize all the textures. Why doesn't it just cache all that? And if I go to iOS, switch to iOS, I have to wait 8-9 hours for that to happen. Legitimately, my Mac, a brand new M1 MacBook Pro 13-inch 2020 year 2020 with an M1 chip took 9 hours to import, to switch from Android to iOS. I had to leave it overnight. That is just not acceptable at all. Absolutely. And if I want to go back to Android, it's going to take another 9 hours. If I go to iOS again, another 9 hours. Why don't you just cache those textures? You've re-imported them once. You've already have that data. You did all the work. Why not just cache it? I don't know. And there's no way for me to tell it to cache it. As far as I know, I can make a caching server, like according to Unity. I can have a cache server, or texture server. I don't freaking know what they call it. Yeah, I can have a cache server, which is great and all, but that does fuck all for people who are working over the internet. If I'm working with a team remotely, that's it's not gonna do anything for me. You have just has to be in. We all have to be in the same building. So, for those reasons and many others, countless crashes. Well, honestly, in terms of crashing, Unity doesn't crash that often. Maybe once or twice. Maybe once or twice a month or a week, something around that. It doesn't crash that often. It's a fucking dog shit engine, and I'm so sick and tired of using it. So that was my rant. Uh, Now some you might say, well, you know what? Building a game engine will take years of your life. It's gonna take 3-4 years. Well, I'm gonna enjoy it first of all. I'm gonna enjoy building it because I love building game engines. That's really important, right? I absolutely love programming game engines. So I'm gonna enjoy my time. I'm not gonna be miserable with using Unity. And I don't know, it's just gonna be a pleasant experience overall, hopefully. And I don't have to waste my time waiting for hours. You might have the argument of, well, you are wasting your time building game engine for 3 years, right? Rather than waiting the minute and a half to open the game engine. Like, just that's such a dumb excuse, right? Well, my counter argument to that is, by building game engine, one, I'm gonna have the experience to do it. I'll have more control over what the engine does, right? I don't have to fight Unity to do something. I can just, if I want to do something, learn it, do it. I know the engine, I know the code base. And most importantly, I don't have to pay $400 a year per user to remove stupid Unity logo. So those are the many reasons that why I'm doing this, and yeah. So just gonna learn Vulkan. I already know OpenGL. I know how the pipeline works for the most part. I don't want to create an OpenGL engine just because I've already done that, and I want to move forward with my career. So I'm learning Vulkan, and let's see how this goes. Hopefully, it won't be that hard. I know it's gonna be hard because it's Vulkan. Vulkan apparently is a little bitch when it comes to making your first triangle. Apparently, you have to write 2,000 lines of code to get your first triangle up and running, where OpenGL is more around 300 lines of code. But, you know, let's do it, I suppose. Alright. So, I haven't set up my environment at all, so I'm gonna do that on stream. I'm starting completely from scratch, other than having Visual Studio already open and set up. It's gonna be a fresh start. So my plan here, I'm gonna build two separate engines. Maybe two separate engines, maybe not. I want to have one that just does 2D and one that does 3D. I don't know if I should combine them. I don't think I should combine them. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like they should be separate. That's a decision that will come way down the line, I suppose. Or maybe probably should think about it now. But my idea is gonna have a 3D engine, right? And a 2D engine. They're both separate. They're both different applications. This will have its own editor. This will have its own editor. If someone want to make 2D game, they can use this. If someone want to make 3D game, they can use that. Now, the downside of this is, what if I'm building a prototype in 3D and all of a sudden I want to switch to 2D? I have to scrap all of this. I should have a way to import stuff from a 3D to 2D from both engines, right? If I want to import textures or scripts or things like that. Maybe, I don't know. For now, right now, the most important part to get this started is just have a triangle on the screen, right? That's now my priority, and then I can think about whether I want to make it 2D or 3D. So that's kind of my goal here. And let's see if this works. So I'm gonna create a new project. Speaking of slow software, come on, Visual Studio. Any day now. You're gonna do C++, Windows. I'm gonna create a fresh empty project. What do I call this? Call it Vulkan. Engine. Or small v Vulkan. I've been recently naming my project like this. So I'm running on a 4K screen. Apologies, the font will be a tad slow, and I like to run 100% scaling rather than 150, right? Which is recommended, whatever. But there's a reason I got a 27-inch 4K screen, just to get all the real estate rather than, have it scaled up. So the text might be a little bit slow. I'll magnify when it's needed. So here you go. Vulkan engine. Gonna put it here. Blah blah. So, cool. Let's do next. Oh, come on. Let's go. Come. There we go. I have to update this. I will update you after stream, my friend. All right. So here's my solution explorer. So I put this on 150 just for the stream. I don't know. Let me see. Let me see how bad this looks. On a 4K screen, it doesn't look too bad. It's fine. If you guys are struggling to read it, you can let me know. If anyone's gonna watch this, I have no idea if anyone watches. We'll see. I'll zoom. All right, so I do not like these files, these virtual files. So what Visual Studio does for you when you first create a project in C++, it's going to create these virtual files for you. They're not on the disk. So if I right click on the project and I say I don't know, where is it? Am I blind? Yes, I am blind. Open folder in File Explorer. Right? If I go here, you can see these folders, they don't exist in my project, right? There's nothing here. There's just an empty project. And so I don't like them. So what I usually do is I click on this icon here, which is show all files. So you can see it's a fresh, brand new, empty project, right? So I like to do that. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna create a repository for this. So there are a lot of, I'm assuming this is not going to be an educational stream in terms of I'm not going to go ahead and explain things that a normal software developer wouldn't know. For beginners, you might struggle a little bit. I might do a few tutorials on things down the line. I don't know. But so what I want to do is create a repository in create a GitHub project for this. And if you don't know what a repository is, I'll just explain while creating it. Basically, version control or GitHub allows us to do I call it Vodka Engine? It should have a name for this repo. Can I rename repos later on down the line? Because if I can't, that would be sweet. I don't know if I can or not. Let's go to a repository here. So what GitHub allows you to do is create a well, I can rename it. Oh, that's fantastic. All right, cool. What this allows you to do is create a sorry, I can't focus. So what this allows you to do create create. You know how in games if you go to a new level, you have checkpoints and you have save points. So let's say I beat the boss in the 5th level, and then I save my game, and I close the game and I open it again, and I'm right there. And, you know, I load the game back up. You can think of a version control system exactly the same way. So I can save my code in any point in time, and if I break my code later on down the line and I mess things up or delete files or modify files, I can just go back to the previous version of my code or the previous, save, if you will, which is awesome. So everyone should definitely have version control system set up. The most popular one is Git and GitHub. So GitHub is the online version where you can upload things to the cloud. Git is what it runs on. It's the actual software, the version control system that it runs on. So there you go, if you didn't know that. So I'm gonna add a .get ignore. It's gonna be for C++. I'm gonna choose a license. This is gonna be open source under the MIT license. I like to open source my projects, just because I want to give back to the community. It's nice, it's cool, and so there we have that. Alright, so I'm gonna clone this on SSH. So open git fork. So I'm gonna clone this. So this project right now is living on the cloud. And so what I want to do is clone it here. I'm going to go and delete content repos. Nope. Is it in source? Source repos Vulkan engine. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna put this in an empty folder here. Do this real quick. Alright, so clone it here. Right? So I'm cloning this repository, which only has 2 files right now. Right? You can see it's Vulkan engine. And then what I'm gonna do, this is not the greatest way of doing it. I should have managed this a little bit better. But then what I'm gonna do is this Vulkan engine, cut all of this, paste it all in here. Right? And that would be my Vulkan engine. I'm gonna delete this folder, go here, cut this, put it back, delete this folder. This is oh, I have 2 Hello OpenGL projects. Cool. I don't know why those are here. Should I delete them? I'll keep them. Alright, so I have my Vulkan thing here. I have to close this because this is not correct anymore. Open my repo. Here's my repo. Go here. Select. Cool. So I have my repository. I have my git ignore and all that. I need to ignore. Okay, so if you don't know what a dot ignore is, it's basically tells you, hey, I want to ignore all these files. So I want to ignore this file type or this file type or a DLL or this file type, right? And so they don't get saved in the version control system. Because why would you ever save these? Like, these are all automatically generated. Some of them, well, most of them really. You only generally want to commit or save source files, like actual code, not binary files. There are exceptions to that, but yeah. So all I want to do is I want to ignore the .vs folder. This VS folder, it is automatically generated by Visual Studio. And so it has some sort of database. This can get quite large. This can get up to like 1-2 GB large, which is kind of stupid, but whatever. So I want to make sure I want to ignore that folder. So all I want to do, and I'm just gonna put a comment. So this is a comment. Visual, whoa, English, hello. There you go. Oh my god. Alright, I was struggling right there. I want to ignore all files that contain or folders that contain the .vs extension. So notice here, if I save this, let's put this side by side. So this is my .vs. If I save this, it's gonna disappear. Save. Go back here. It's gone. Right. So this is gonna be ignored, which is fantastic. All right. So let's open this back up. This is not quite a tutorial. I know I'm glossing over things, but I'll try to explain things as much as possible. This is not a tutorial. This is not supposed to be an in-depth tutorial. This is supposed to be me building an engine, but I'm also going to explain stuff on the way, I suppose. Alright, so here's my project. This is my Git. I'm going to create a hello world. So let's close that up. So it's over here. So what I'm gonna do here real quick is I'm gonna create a hello world project or file just to make sure everything works. And when it does, I'll just go and say, hey, yo, hello. See if this works. Okay, so I'm gonna go add a new item, a CPP file. I'm gonna call it main. All right, zoom into the code so you guys can see what I'm typing. So food. All right. stdac out. All right. It's gonna be 64-bit. We're not targeting 32-bit whatsoever. Debug, release. Sorry, debug and build. Let's see if this works. It should work. And there you go. It says hello world. It looks really nice and fantastic, which is great. All right. So I'm gonna commit this code. Ooh. All right. So a lot of things I need to ignore. A lot of things. So as you can see, when I built my project, it generated a bunch of these guys. Right? It generated a PDP, PDB file, which is just for debugging purposes. It has some data for debugging stuff. This is just a bunch of stuff. So basically, I want to ignore this x64, both x64 folders. I don't want them to be committed because these are automatically generated. Every time I build a project, they'll automatically be generated. So I don't need to commit them. So I'm going to organize my project just a little bit. I'm going to zoom for this so you can see what's going on. So how I want to structure this engine, right? It's going to be two things. I'm going to create a lib file. If I can type. I'm going to create a lib file which is going to contain all my engine code, and then I'm going to create a sandbox project, sandbox project where I test my library and do things, right? So this is just going to be the engine, primarily the engine, and this is going to be my actual project that I test my engine on. All right, so let's see, let's do that. So it's going to be Vulkan engine, right? I'm going to create a new brand new project in here. So I'm going to right click here. Add, how do I do this? Right click here. Add new project. All right. So this is going to be called C++ Windows empty project also. This is going to be called Sandbox. All right. So this is my Vulkan engine. I should have probably called this core. So this would be called core, this would be called sandbox. I want to do that, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to delete this. So just delete both of them. Yeah. Alright, make sure they're deleted. So sandbox Vulkan gone. This is gone. So all that is gone. I want to edit this. I want to see if there's any traces for those two projects. There shouldn't be. This is... Yeah. This is deleted, so it shouldn't exist, but whatever, sure. Alright. So I'm gonna create two brand new projects. The first project is gonna be called Core. Okay, and the second one will be Vulkan. Sorry, a Sandbox. Add Sandbox. Right. So my core is my core engine, and my sandbox is my sandbox, where I can test my engine and play with it, play around with it, right? So in here I should have two files, yeah, two folders. If I edit this, okay, sure. Oh, is this gonna change? This is kind of annoying me. Can I close it? Oh, I have to save it, obviously. Duh. Now it should be changed, right? Now it should be like, yeah, there you go. Core and sandbox. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, cool. Open this again. Zoom in a little bit on this. All right. So these are my things. So in my core, so my core is going to be my core engine, right? So properties, right? It's going to be 64-bit. This is not going to be an exe file. This is going to be a static library. Or should it be dynamic? Static or dynamic? Static, or it's going to be a dynamic library. Yeah. So my core game engine is going to be a dynamic library. I'm going to use the latest SDK installed. Sure. Sure, that's fine. I'm going to use C++ 14 just because it's default. I don't know any C++ 17 or 20 features that I think I would use, so 14 is fine. Advance. Target extension is not an exe. Oh, it's just changed that for cool. Right. This is going to be on all platforms. I have to make sure this is done on all platforms. This is a DLL. So always make sure you're doing on all platforms, all configuration for both. So this is going to be a dynamic library, a DLL. I wonder what. How are these different? Why are these different? Platform configuration. We're gonna change these directories. That's really important for me. So I'm gonna copy this. Where's my zoom out? All right, so I'm gonna copy this. So here, let me explain what I'm doing, or what I want to essentially do. The problem now, if I go ahead and build this, right? What it's gonna do is it's gonna create a debug folder and a release folder and intermediate folder, and they're just gonna be everywhere, and they're gonna be a little bit messy. So what I want to do, just to give you a better example than this, let me go create a. Let me do it on Sandbox. Excuse me. Let me do this on Sandbox and go set this as a default project. If I can find it, here we go. I'm gonna create my main file. Right? Main. Gonna include IOStream. This is going to be in main. 0. And it's going to be std cout. Okay, cool. So if I go ahead and build this, and this, let's say 64-bit, right? I go and build it, right? So here's what's going to happen. You can see it created x64, and it also created, if I go in Sandbox, another x64. This is going to be my debug stuff, my intermediate files, like the leaking file, the obj file, the pdb file. These files are just to help you debug your software, right? And they contain some debug information. Now these files are created over here, and then I have my x64, which is created all the way up here, which is Sandbox, and if I open it, it works, right? This is my Sandbox actual application. And they're a little bit messy. This is outside here, this is inside, and so what I want to do is put everything in just one folder, right? So they're not all over the place. I hate messy things, and so that's what I want to essentially do. And we can do that in here. So what I'm going to do here is copy this. This is the default thing, and these are macros. And if you don't know what macros are, they're really fantastic. And so what I'm going to do, click on all platforms. So my output directory, I'm going to edit on this, or edit this, is going to be the following. Your Highness, can we work together here? Hello? Misuse? Oh, I can't drag it down? Oh, that sucks. Okay, cool. Whatever. Alright, so macros allow you to basically specify where or how you want your project to. No, that's a lie. Okay, so macros essentially, if it finds this macro, for example, $solution directory, if I search for solution directory, right? So what's gonna happen here? When it sees this word, it's gonna replace it with this directory, which is C user content source repo Vulkan engine, right? Now, why is this useful? Because you never want to hard code directories. Because if I move this project on a different computer, it's not gonna have the Conta user, right? This is my own user, my username on my own computer, right? So it won't be dynamic. So if they try to build a project, they're gonna have an error and they're gonna have a bunch of issues because it can't find this folder. With macros, on the other hand, if we go with macros, macros are really cool where they allow you to dynamically figure out what is the solution directory, what is this, what is that, right? So it just goes and replaces it. Visual Studio knows the directories and it just goes and replaces things, which is kind of cool. So I don't have to worry about that. So macros are really cool. You should never hard code a path ever, just because, again, if you move this to a different project, or if you move the project to a different computer, it's going to be a whole big mess because it can't find the directory. So we're going to stick with these things, which are awesome. So what I want to do here, this is going to be for output, the output directory. And so my output directory is going to be what I want it to be, where I want it to be, inside my project. So repo Vulkan engine, that's correct. So after Vulkan engine, it says Win32, and that's not what I want. I don't want it to go over here. I want it to be inside Sandbox, right? So I need to find a macro that essentially says Sandbox. So let me try to remember if there's a Sandbox I remember. Let me try to remember. There's a Sandbox that I remember. That's fantastic. Or what I could do is I could just see what it actually says here. Platform, configuration, solution dir, platform configuration. This says x64. This says there has to be something with a sandbox. Can I just search sandbox? We'll find. Oh, fantastic. Okay, it already finds the directory for me. Okay, so this is going to be local debug working directory. No. Project dir. There we go. I want project dir. I want this macro. So project dir, which is going to be C user content source blah 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 sandbox x64, right? And then after x64, this is going to be, this is my bin, my binary file. So bin dash, if I can find the dash, bin dash debug, right? Which is what I want to do, which is fantastic. So copy this, paste it. So this is going to be there. And in here, this is going to be the same exact thing, except this is my intermediate files, right? So paste. Instead of this as being bin, it's going to be called intermediate debug, right? Apply. So now this is cool, right? Now before, before what was happening is you had your x64 folder sitting over here, your debug folder sitting over here, and in Sandbox you had another x64. So this is my intermediate. These are all my intermediate files. You can see obj, ilk, db, right? These are my intermediate files. This is my binary file, right? Where you can see sandbox.exe. Now if I delete these guys, now build it, see what happens. Go build it. It is going to be all, you can see there's no files here, no folders, which is awesome. Now this folder is here. If I open it, it's split into bins and intermediate. If I go into bin, debug, I can see my bin. Intermediate, debug, here are my things, right? I don't know why Visual Studio doesn't do that by default. I think it's unbelievably stupid that it doesn't do that by default, but there you go. All right, so that's the configuration that I want for my project, which is kind of sweet. All right, so I'm going to copy this. Apologies, I keep zooming out, zooming in. So this is going to be that. I'm going to copy this and paste it here. All right, I want to make sure this happens for all configurations, not just x64. So where's my thing? Okay, so I'm going to copy this, paste it over here, copy that, paste it over here, and apply. Right? This is my sandbox, so it's going to be .exe. That's all correct. Advanced. That's fine. This is different for each. So for x64, release and debug, these are different, which is fine. Anything I want to do specifically? This is fine. I want to do something with the multi-process compilation. I want this to be a yes. So it compiles on multiple cores. I believe all you have to do is just mark this as yes. And that just works, right? So this just builds C++ on multiple cores, which is a lot faster. And I want this on all platforms and all configurations. Optimization levels, sure. Favor speed, size, or speed. I always want to favor speed. I don't care much about size because we're compiling this for PC, and PC they have a really fast. I might change this in the future, but I want to favor speed. Fiber safe optimization. I don't know what that is, but sure. Maximum optimization favor speed. Optimization favor speed. I believe OX is the absolute fastest one. So we'll do that. For debug, you want to disable all optimizations, right? Because you want to debug your software. You want to make sure, you have that debug data. Linker, anything I want to do with the linker? Not specifically. Everything seems fine, right? Ooh, I should have done that on all configurations. Even though I'm not building for Win32, this is maximum. This is gonna be favorites cosmic. So it's gonna be release all configurations for both. If I build for x64 or 32, I'm never gonna build for 32-bit, but I just want to have it configured anyway. This is multi. Yeah, this is correct. And that is essentially it. Okay, I've had this set up correctly for my what do you call it? For my sandbox. Now I do the same thing for my core. Right? So I want to make sure to copy this, paste it here. Right? So now if you look at the directory from my core, it's going to be C user source Vulkan engine core Win32 debug, and then ooh, do I want it to Win32? No. I want to have bin. No. This should be called build, honestly. Yeah, this should. Okay, I have a few changes to do. So I'm gonna do build slash. So core build Win32. Yeah, I should definitely do that. That is much better. Whoops. So build. And then same thing for here. Engine core. So instead of going to platform directly, I'm gonna have to do build slash. So build Win32. That is much better. Yes, that is much better. Let me apply it here. Go change the sandbox real quick. So the sandbox, these are going to be a little bit different. Okay, and again, so what's going to happen every time I build my project, it's going to go into my sandbox, create a build folder, and then it's going to do Win32 or x64 bin debug, right? And the same thing for my intermediate. It's going to go sandbox, build, Win32 intermediate, right? That's what I want to do. This is small I, everything else is capital. Yeah, bin, it's fine. Small I is fine. Right, so this is my sandbox. I'm gonna make sure I do the same thing for my core, or make sure my core works the same way. So this is core build. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, now that I'm thinking about it, do I want to do this? Do I want to have my build folder in each one? I have my build folder over here. Maybe I should have my build folder over here. I don't know. Because I can just ignore it, ignore a single build folder, right? So let me test this real quick. Let me just test this. So I'm gonna delete these files, make sure they're gone. Delete this, make sure they're gone. So now if I build this, let me build this real quick. Go to Sandbox, you can see there's a build folder now inside of x64, bin and intermediate. I go into my bin and I see my debug and here's my debug. Intermediate, here's my intermediate, and here I do that, right? This is all nice. For core, if I build my core, it's going to do basically the same thing. I'm going to build folder, x64, bin intermediate, and so on. This is empty because there's nothing in here to build, right? Now, the question is, in my version control system, I want to ignore my build folder, right? This is really important. I don't want my build to be committed. So, what I'm going to do, edit this file, .getignore. Can I just say I would like to ignore my build folder? Can I just do this? And I'm just going to ignore it. No, I have to specifically specify. I have to say core/build. No? Yeah, I have to do that, which is frustrating because I have to do that for every single one. Why not just have a build folder that I can just ignore, just out here, right? I think that'd be much nicer. Yeah, I think that would be much nicer. So I'm gonna edit this one more time, and apologies for that, but I want to get this right. So rather than project directory, right? I'm gonna go back to solution directory. Solution. That's not how you spell solution. Solution. So I'm gonna change this to solution there. Right? And from solution there, I want to do sandbox, or it's called core. This is my core, yeah. I want to have project name. So build /$ open close brackets. This is going to be called project name, right? So Vulkan engine, build, core, Win32, debug, and all that. Right, that's how I want it. It's fantastic. And here, it's gonna be very similar. So I'm just gonna let me just modify it here. Whoa, why would you do that? Don't do that. So this is gonna be solution. This is gonna that, and then project name with the slash. Much better. So if I copy this now, zoom in so you guys can see. All right, so this is going to be Vulkan engine build core with their intermediate debug. I love how capital small, capital small, capital. It's really annoying me. It's really frustrating me. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. But I mean, here we are. Life is unfair, I suppose. I could do this small b, but a small b, really? Will we do small b? What'd I do? Oh, yeah, cool. Build core method too. Okay, cool. So apply this. So this is gonna be my new thing, right? These are gonna be my new ones. So I'm just gonna apply this to sandbox also. Make sure I copy this, paste it over here. Copy this, paste this over here. Apply. Alright, moment of truth. Let's see if this works. I want to delete this build folder. In my core, in my sandbox, I want to delete this build folder. Refresh. I don't know why it refreshed, but sure. I'm gonna... Can I just right click and build all? No. Oh, rebuild solution. There you go. Okay. So now, what it did, it created a build folder on the project, like directory. If I go here and see core and sandbox, on my core, I have my core stuff, which is awesome. My sandbox, whoops. I have my sandbox stuff, which is awesome. Right, with my intermediate stuff and all. It's all nice and organized. Alright, and then my version control system, all I have to do now is just say ignore build. And it does. Magic. I love magic. Cool. This would probably be under pre-compiled application compiled. I don't know. Compilation. I don't know if I spelled this correctly. So I usually use Google to correct my spelling or check my spelling because my spelling is not the greatest. And this is fine. It's not fine, really. It's kind of embarrassing, but you know. We all have our shortcomings. That's funny. Cool. Alright. So build is ignored. That's great. I have my core, my sandbox, they're all there. Alright, so I can now test this and make sure it works. So I have my hello world, build it, open it, it says hello world, right? I want to create a... Okay, so this is all set up correctly. This is all fantastic. This is all fantastic work. Alright. So the next step that I would like to do is... I want to build... Okay, so I want to have a source file in my core. So if I go into my core here... I don't know, what do I call this? Engine.cpp. Will it be a class? Let's make it a class. Should I call it engine.cpp? Sure, why not? This will be like the entry point for the engine. Right, engine.cpp or engine... Engine, sure, engine, yeah. Alright, so it's going to create the header and a CPP file, which is kind of great, I guess, I suppose, if you say so. Alright. I'm going to create a constructor in the structure. So this is going to be a public. Whoa. Spelling, please. Engine. These are all going to be capital stuff. Why did I make them small? Struggling to rename a file. Jesus Christ. Don't remove. It said rename. Thank you. Engine. This will be E. Yeah. E. It should be E, capital E, engine. Alright, so I'm going to make a public constructor and destructor. Alright. Oh shit, how do I do this? Oh, it's... My keyboard is interesting. It's an interesting keyboard to say the least. Alright, I'm gonna tell Visual Studio to create these for me. Thank you. Create my definitions, please. There you go. Alright, so what I want to do here, I'm gonna include iStream here. Include iStream. I shouldn't include it here, I should include in CPP just because there's no reason to include them in the header. This is just a test anyway, so it doesn't matter. std cout hello engine. Sure. std bell. Alright, so that's done. That is done. So my job now, I don't know, but does this have to be public? Is that a thing? Can you do? No, it's not a thing. I haven't written C++ in a while. Alright, so I want to build this. What that's going to build is going to build the DLL file for me. Alright, which is over here, which I need to link. Right? I need to link this baby. Alright, so let's link it. I need to link it in my core. In here. Okay, so whenever I want to do this, right, my header files will be in here. Does it create a .lib folder for me? Or yeah, build. No, just creates a DLL. Alright. Intermediate does create a .dll, right? .lib. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So I need two things right now. I need my headers, which is the h's, .h's. And I need my my build, my DLL. Right, I want to automate that process. Ooh, how am I gonna do this? So in my head, what I'm trying to do is say this. Whenever I build my engine, I want to have two things. I have my bin right here, which is great. This is my bin. It's over here, right? And I have my intermediates here. I want to have a new folder called headers, which will contain all my headers, right? All my h's. It means I have to copy this engine.h over here and all the engine.h's, right? And if I organize this, let me create a new folder here. Let's see how I'm going to do this. Let's see, I create a new folder. It's called graphics. Right, and inside graphics, I have a class called, I don't know. This is just for testing right now. Call it render. Renderer. Two R's? Renderers? E-R-E-R? Renderer? Yeah, because that would be render. Renderer. Translation. Google, help me. No, where's the Google voice thing? Google Translate? Oh, thank you. Stop it, Google. Yeah, it's render. Cool. I know English. Alright, so this is gonna be my render. Alright, and it's gonna be very similar. I'm just gonna have ooh, why'd you create here, buddy? I sit over here. Alright. So this is my render over here. Right? H. It's gonna be H and CPP. Just gonna copy this, put this, called render. Save, fantastic. Copy this, paste that. This is gonna be called render. It's gonna be hello render. Alright, and in my engine, in my lovely engine, I'm gonna include my graphics render. Okay. I'm gonna create an object called render. Alrighty doodle. Alrighty. And then I'm gonna call render over here. I mean, I think that happens by default, anyways. But there you go. So this should say hello, hello render, hello engine, both of them at the same time, right? But how I usually like to organize this is have both the CPP and header here. I want to copy only the header files, right? Let me, for now, I just want to see if this works to begin with. So let me just start linking stuff. Okay. Oh boy. So this is gonna ask me where all my include files are, right? I'm gonna do this manually for now. It's not great, it's not good, but you know what? It's fine. You know why it's fine? Because I said so. So I'm gonna have, this is gonna be x64. My header's over here. You can go away. So I'm gonna go to, can I just open File Explorer, please? Yep. Okay. I'm gonna copy all this, paste it here. Delete this, delete all of this. And so I'm gonna only have the header files, right? This is all good. All my headers are here. So it's gonna be done automatically later on, but I'm just gonna do it manually for now. Okay. So here, when this lovely fella asks me, where are my include files? So what I'm gonna tell it, I'm gonna say, hey yo, hey lovely friend, my friend. They exist. This is where they exist. They exist in Vulkan build, not project name, not platform. Sorry, not project name anymore. It's gonna be my core. I have to do it manually now. All right, core Win32, not bin anymore. And so just double check. This is gonna be build core headers. Build core headers. Right? And the /, even though I'm pretty sure you don't need this /, but sure, why not? I mean, all of them don't, so. There's actually, they're all called include. Yeah, this should be called include. Whatever, called include. Include. Core include, okay. So now for my headers, I have to rename this. Instead of headers, it's going to be called include. Right? So in Sandbox, hopefully, I can just do include graphics. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to do that. You see, it's not something I want to do. When I go and include, I need a folder called core. And these lovely fellas inside in here. So now, this has to be changed again. Jesus Christ. Alright, it's going to be core. Core / include / yeah, that's actually, no, that's it. That's all I have to do. I don't have to change anything. I can just do core, yep, / engine. Aha! Aha! Okay, cool. So now I can just do engine, and I can just call this. Alright? Alright. Now if I build this, it's just gonna crash because it can't find the DLL. Right? The linker will not be able to find the DLL. Alright, so I have to link the DLL. So let's link the DLL. I've said DLL way too many times. DLL, blah, blah, blah. Again, do I want to do this statically or dynamically? I really feel like I should do this statically. But dynamic it is for now. Whatever. Dynamic is fine. For now. Alright, so this is gonna be called core.dll. Is it core.dll? How do you link dynamic libraries? I should have a lib file. Why don't I have a lib file? I only have my DLL. Is this correct? I don't know if this is correct or not. I mean, I'll try it. Ooh, I have to tell it where that file exists, or where that DLL exists. Right, I have to tell it the include. So I've told it where the include are, and to tell it where the lib directories are. And so the lib directories will be in the same kind of location. Shouldn't this be called bin? The bin folder, it should be include in bin. Inside bin there's 6432. Alright, so I'm changing things again. Sorry about that. But I gotta get this right. This is important. So this is my build, right? Yeah. So this is for my sandbox. Yep. This is, let me zoom out for a bit. Alright, sorry about that. So this is going to be for my sandbox. This is going to be called build sandbox bin. So build sandbox bin Win32 debug. Alright, that's how I'd like to have it. For my intermediate, it can be build sandbox. Let me paste this first before I lose it. Okay. And this is going to be different also. This is going to be intermediate platform. Yeah, that's how I want that to be. This is much better overall. Let me just verify and make sure how this looks. It's going to be intermediate. So Vulkan build sandbox intermediate Win32 debug, because x64 will also be in there, and debug and release whatever. Yes, this is much better. Much better. So let me do that for the core also. Just copy these. Paste them. Copy these. Paste them. Alright, so before you would have to go inside build, inside core, and then you'd see the platform. You know, if there's Win32, there would be a Win32 folder here, like this. And then inside it, you'd see bin and intermediate, and inside here, you'd see bin and intermediate, and it's really not great. So instead now, what happens is that you have the bin outside, and inside bin, there's x64 and 32. And you pick x64, you see debug or release, which is much nicer. So let me just show you the old one and the new one. So if I rebuild everything, okay, so you can see build core. Inside core now, there's a bin folder where before it was just x64, right? In my bin folder, I have x64 and I'll have 32 if I build on 32. So if I go on x64 and rebuild all this, or did I click on clean? Oh, jeez. Ah, jeez. Let me just do x64 too. Rebuild solution. So rebuild the solution on that. Rebuilding solution on that, right? So you can see now I go into my core, I see bin. It's Win32 x64. I can pick whatever I want and I can do a debug, right? If I go Win32 debug, there it is, right? Where before there was no bin folder. Before you'd go into immediately into x64, or you would have a Win32, right? And you'd have to go to bin. It's just it's much it's much more organized now. Where before it wasn't the greatest. So again, x64, bin and intermediate, go intermediate, debug, dot, which is not great. So delete this folder. I should delete all folders now. You just delete everything. I'm just gonna keep the include. And sandbox is this. I'm just gonna delete sandbox altogether because it doesn't need to be there. The only reason I'm keeping core is because I want my include files. I did those manually. We don't get them automatically, right? So if I rebuild this entire thing on x64, right, you'll see sandbox and core. You go to core, you have bin, include, and intermediate. Intermediate, we never want to use those, almost never. Well, at some point maybe, but whatever, right? But we have bin and include. Bin has x64, debug, and that. If I have a release, it's gonna be next to it. If I have another platform, Win32 will be next to it. So these are all my bins in one folder, all my includes in one folder, all my intermediate in one folder, which is much nicer system, in my honest opinion. What other opinion would I have? Whatever. Cool. So that's set up. I like this new system. It's fancy, right? And so in here, in my sandbox, right, what I want to do is I want to tell it where my library stuff are, or my lib folders are. So what I'm gonna do here, where's this? Copy this line, right? So I want to tell it, hey, the lib files are inside source build. It's not gonna be sandbox. This is gonna be called core bin platform debug, right? And there you go. And so if we switch to x64, that'll be x64. Switch to 32, it'll be Win32. And bin debug. If we switch to release, this will be release. If we switch to debug, this will be debug. Build. Yeah, this is all correct. So now, in theory, this should run. This should just work. Press play. And it doesn't, because invalid or corrupted file. Red add 0. So I assume this is the DLL. It can't link the DLL correctly. I don't know if I'm supposed to call it an app. DLLs are linked dynamically. You need the lib folder. Why isn't the lib folder being generated? Like, that's what I remember, at least. Where's the lib folder? Is it in intermediates? Okay. There's no lib folder here. There's only a DLL. I must be doing something wrong. I remember. Am I wrong? I could have sworn whenever you build a DLL file, it builds two things: a DLL and a lib folder, and you link the lib folder, and it sees the DLL over there. Interesting. Dynamic library. Yeah. So just, can I clean the entire project? Rebuild everything. Cannot open file.dll. That's fine. Build again. Invalid or corrupted read at 0. At 0, whatever. I want to set up something. Hold on. So I want to set up something. You saw here. So if I clean my project, right? Look at the error message side. If I click on the solution, I say build rebuild solution. The first error is cannot open file core.dll, and the reason this happens is because it's building the solution. It's building the sandbox first. So I want to set a specific order for the build, or I want to tell it there's a build order. So you can specify a project build order, and you want to say that the build order should be core and then sandbox. And the fact that this is already the case. So sandbox. That is already the case. What? project build. Oh, project dependencies. Sandbox depends on core. All right. Core doesn't depend on sandbox. Sandbox depends on core. And build the order. Sorry, the build order should be core and then sandbox. So if I clean this and rebuild. Yeah, so now it just goes directly to invalid or corrupted file. So that's correct now. Where before it says it can't find the core.dll. Now it just doesn't say that because I set it up in a way where it says, hey, this depends on this, right? So I said the sandbox depends on core. So when core is done, you can start building sandbox, right? Okay. So that's all correct. Now we go back to the issue of how the fucking fuck are we gonna link a DLL? So linker, do I specify .dll? Can I just do I just do core? I don't think that's correct. Build. Nope. Oh jeez. I'm doing something very wrong. I don't know what that is though. I don't know what that is. Whenever you link, you should link. Oh, hold on. It's a dynamic library, meaning it's linked at runtime. So why am I trying to link it here? Do I have to link it? No, I don't think I have to link it there. I just need the... What am I doing? I think I just need the... If I build this. No, the linker is getting blamed though. The linker needs to know about it. But the linker needs an OBJ file, right? That's all it does. That's all it needs. So... No, we do have an OBJ file. I have two OBJ files. But that should compile into a freaking lib file. Where's my fucking lib folder, bro? Why am I not getting built? Build DL Visual Studio C++. I must be doing something completely. Oh my god, I remember. Oh my god, I have to do something. Yeah, I remember now. You have to do these SIDL, this, where is it? Not extern. This they'll export bullshit. Oh my god, completely forgot about that. Okay. I need to learn about this. I don't know what Dexpel Dick Deckelspell? Deckelspec. What does Deckelspec mean? I know it exports the lib folder and DL and all that jazz, but I need to specifically. Okay, this is Microsoft's specific extension to the C++ language allows you to attribute or a type or function with a storage class information. That meant absolutely nothing to me. Okay. It is mostly used to import symbols from exporting DL with visualization. Okay, so you export symbols. So you export symbols or something, right? Sorry guys, give me a second. Just reading something. One moment. Okay, so this makes no sense. I know this. Yeah, this is fine. Specific directory allows you to specify storage. Oh, okay. So this is so you can use this to tell to DL import or export. All right. For obvious reason, DL-spec and DL-spec are generally paired with one another. You can use okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. Okay. And I believe you have to specify that in the class, right? So in the class, oh my God. Okay, so you have to do this for every class, right? For you to get the lib folder. So what we can do is we can create a macro. And I don't remember how I did this in my other engine. I want to go and explore that for a second. Hold on. Um, it was an interesting file that I had to create. Empty.h. This is needed. Links project can call. I remember that. I was so stupid. Okay, it was in common.h, wasn't it? Yes. So I had to define, yeah. So if BFE platform Windows, I had to do this. All right. So I'm gonna create okay. So I'm gonna create a folder called common, or just a file. Just create a file. Um. Actually, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create the folder called core, and I'm gonna put all these guys inside core. Right. And in here, I'm gonna create a file and header file called common.h, which has this. I'm just gonna copy it and paste it. All right, so I'm creating a bunch of macros here. Okay, so this is gonna be called. So if this is defined as a if we're on the Windows platform, right? If I wanna, okay, so basically, okay, let me explain. I need to export all my classes using this DLL-spec DLL export in order for me to get the in order for me to get my lib file, right? I need to use this, right? So basically, I copy this and I paste it, I believe here, or before the word of class. I think here maybe, or doesn't matter. Let's see what Microsoft does. Yeah, shut up. Yeah, so it's before, or wait, sometimes they're doing before, sometimes they're doing after. Why? Uh, to var x. Attribute to x. Okay. And if I remember, the way I'm doing it is putting it, oh, Jesus. Where's the class? Class. Where's my class? Namespace class here. So after the class. So Microsoft says there's two ways of doing it, either after the class or before the class. So this will apply to varx. What in the flying shit is a varx? So I'm creating a class called x. Is this me creating an object called varx after the class? Is this some? Can you do this in C++? I'm learning new things. Hold on, my friend. Class x, or it's called z. All right. And then he said, or they said, after you do that, you do B. So can I just do, let me create a public function. Public run. It should be void. And it should say, should have some data says to be cout run. Okay. And so can I just do p dot? Oh, that's cool. Can I? And it works. P dot run like that. But can I do this with C at the same time? C dot. C dot. Oh, cool. Okay, so this is basically me creating an object out of the class, like I'm doing here. So I can, yeah, it's basically equivalent of doing this. C dot B, and then I do B dot run, right? Oh, that's cool. I think I remember doing that. Okay, so I can export this object, or I can export the class. Why would you ever export the variable itself? So if you do it this way, in this case, the attribute applies to var x a. Deckel spec attribute applies after the class obstruct applied to the user defined type. So here I'm exporting the class. Here I'm exporting the variable. Why would you ever want to export the variable? Sometimes you do, I guess. It's a global variable. Sure, why not? So we don't want to go with this. We want to stick with this. So class, so Deckel spec. So right. So we want to do that. So just delete all this code. This was a test, right? So yeah, you want to do this after in here, right? So if I do this, I'll be able to get the lib folder, right? And if I do this for both render and here, ignoring this common, I mean, it's not going to work anyways. So if I build this, you will see that I'm going to get that lib file. Hopefully, if I'm not mistaken. Then, yeah, baby. There we go. See? Now I can link this core.lib, right? So this is basically telling Microsoft, hey, I'm exporting this. Now, the problem is, if I want to import it, I have to do Deckel spec import somewhere. So I have to import it and export it. And so if I'm specifying this DL core, I export, otherwise I just import if I'm not specifying. So I need to define this to import the DLL or something. If I didn't define, if I define, oh, if I say this is, so I'm importing it, otherwise this would change to DL import. Why would I do this DL import to the class? Why would I want to do that? When would I ever want to import? Okay, hold on, let's see this guy. Oh, okay. So import is used in here. So, okay, I understand, right? So you wanna, okay. So basically, for when I export my engine, right? These headers, the headers inside my engine should say export. For the headers for the sandbox, they should say import. But the problem is, if I have to have now two sets of headers, one that says export, one that says import, right? And I have to maintain this all over the place, and it's really messy. So what I can do instead, I can create a macro, and that macro is really cool. So what I can do here, if I say, so this is engine is going to be called VE for now, as in Vulkan engine platform windows. So if I define this to be platform windows, which I am going to do because this is Windows platform. So in the preprocessor, I'm gonna set this to say VE platform windows, right? So this code is gonna start executing, and so if I say VE core DLL, right, it's going to export. Otherwise, it's import. Right now, it's on import, right? So now I can just do this. I need to include the header, column.h. Did I make a folder for this or not? So column.h, I can do ve core DL engine, and this is the macro. Why is this specified as a class? Ve core DL. Ve core DL. If def, otherwise be, otherwise ve core API. Oh, if def v. Okay, so I need to also define this to be. Sorry, my apologies. So I need to also define two things. I need to. Did I not? Where did I do this? Did I do this in a different project? Did I do this in Sandbox? What? Am I crazy? Am I going crazy? Did that not save? What happened? Hello? What? Oh? Alright, I'm going slowly insane. That's fine. Alright, in here, preprocessor. Did I not apply? What the heck? Okay. So, but this is split up. So, what? Okay. What? Debug. This is so stupid. Why are you doing this? Okay. Oh my god, I hate this. I have to delete them all. Why do you do... Okay, so I delete them from here. I shouldn't have deleted them, whatever, it's fine. Apply. Okay, so debug doesn't have any. Release doesn't have any. This has stuff. Apply, debug. Okay, cool. So now I want to go to all configuration and all platforms. Press OK. I need two things. I need this, and this would be VE Vulkan Engine API. So Vulkan Engine Core. I need to define Vulkan Engine Core, and so basically, all I'm saying, if I'm on the Windows platform, I want to do this, because on Linux you don't have to do this shit. I don't believe, right? So on Windows, if I'm on Windows, which I'm specifying that I'm on Windows, and I want to export my DLL, I have to specify those two macros, right? So I specify those two macros in here. So preprocessor. I need to inherit, make sure inherit here. Specify those two macros. Click OK. So now this will be lit up and this will be lit up. So now all I have to do is for each single class, I say VE API. So instead of this, I say VE API. I need to include my common. Common.h. Okay. Right. And then in here, why are you complaining? Expand DL export define. So what's the issue? Okay, I'll look into this and say, oh, it's gone now. What? Okay, whatever. Alright, so, and VI engine export, right? So now I'm exporting, and if you notice here, if I hover over the preprocessor command, it says declspec DL export, right? Because I'm specifying that this is my engine. As you can see, this is lit up. I'm exporting my engine. If I don't specify this preprocessor command in here, right? In my preprocessor, I specified VE core DL. If I don't specify, it's going to import it. Otherwise, it's going to export it, right? So that's really cool. It's a cool kind of macro thing that you can do to have the same header, and depending on where you are, if you're like importing or exporting, it will switch between them, which is kind of cool, right? So that means I have to copy my headers now. I have to recopy my headers, but this is important, which is nice. right? So now I can get my lib, right? So I need to fix my includes now. I hope that made sense. So my include, this is all going to be deleted. So I need to copy my core. Control X, Control V, right? Delete this. Delete all the CPP stuff. Only keep the headers, right? And so now, finally, after, and I'm just gonna rebuild all of this. But now, finally, what I can do here, finally, I can go to the linker and tell it, hey, core.dll, right? So now, if I clean my entire solution and rebuild this, it doesn't work. Because cannot find core engine.h. Alright. Why is there no core? It just says engine.h. Was this in core? I shouldn't have done that. Okay. All checked. Hello? Yeah, should work. So if I rebuild this again, invalid or cannot read. Okay. Not DLL, bro. I said lib. Whoops. Lib. I meant lib. Alright. Clean everything. Alright, so I cleaned everything, meaning I can delete sandbox, right? Just delete sandbox. I can delete this, delete that. So everything is deleted, everything is gone, right? There's nothing in here. There's nothing in there, right? I can rebuild this now, and it should work. There I go. So if I go to my build, core, bin, x64, debug, here's my DLL, and here's my lib. Great. Now, I'm importing the lib, but the DLL should be alongside the exe. So now if I run this, it's gonna crash, right? Because it can't find the DLL, right? So this DLL should be next to the sandbox. It should be over here. Now I'm copying it manually. I'll automate this process in a second, but just to make it work, it says, hey, it works. Look at that. Look at that, boys. Hello renderer, hello engine, hello world. That's fantastic, right? Hope that made sense. We need decal spec DL export to export our classes into a lib file. A decal spec to import stuff, like the sandbox will use this to import. The core will use this to export, right? And we have to do this after the class for every single class, only the header files, right? And it works. That's fantastic. Alright, so progress. Holy, we spent an hour and 45 minutes just to get this set up. Alright. So that's all done. So now that all of this is done, which is fantastic, it's great. I don't want to copy this DLL every time, because if I clean my project right now, this is gonna all go away, right? All DLL is gonna stay. But if I rebuild my project, I'm not gonna get the newest DLL. I'm gonna get the old DLL, which is you can see over here. So I want this DLL to be copied automatically when I build my project, right? Oh, the very cool thing, the extremely cool thing about Visual Studio is that you can do that. So if I go to here, core, right click on it, go to properties. There's a section that says custom build steps, no, sorry, build events. And there's pre-build, link event, and a post-build. So what I want to do is I want to have an event post-build. After I build my core, right? After my DL is built, I want to copy it automatically to my sandbox bin x64 in here, right? I want to do that. Cool. So the way we can do that is by using the command line, right? Now this is going to be different for x64 and Win32 and debug and release. So these will all be a little bit different. So we're just going to start with x64 and we're going to start with, do I care about releasing? Actually, do I care about that? Yeah, I do, because I want to target x64 folder. I want to target debug. Yeah, these should be different. Okay, so it's going to be different commands. So we're just going to do debug in x64 just for now, and then we'll do this for the other platforms. Okay, so I can close all this jazz. I didn't even start with Vulkan, Jesus Christ. I shouldn't have closed GitHub. I needed GitHub. Right. I should Vulkan engine. There we go. Okay. So what I need to do here is something called xcopy in the command line, right? In this command line, there's xcopy, and so what I can do is I can xcopy any file or folder from one destination to the other, which is kind of cool. So I would like to test this in the terminal first to see if it works, because I don't remember the command exactly. Yeah, go away, I don't care. Okay. So essentially, what I would like to do is copy something from one location to the other. Let's go to my NVMe, my D drive, right? So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna create a new folder called target, and then I'm gonna create a new text file called core.txt, right? So my objective is to copy this into target. And so if I look at the documentation, it says copy source destination. So let's do that. So first I need to navigate to my D drive. So let's go to D. Okay, so xcopy. Let me zoom in so you can see what the hell I'm typing. Xcopy. The source is my D drive. And my destination is D drive target. Target. Right? So if I press enter, what did it copy? No, it copied two things. I don't want it to copy. I want to copy a specific file. So the specific file that I want to copy is core.txt. Yes. See, it works. Fantastic. Now, if I do this again, though, it's going to say override. It's going to ask you a question, yes or no. I always want it to override. So there's a parameter that you can provide /y. Suspend property to confirm that you want to override. Okay, yeah. So I want to suspend that. I don't want it to give me /y. So I don't want it to give me that. I want it to always override. And to make sure that's overriding correctly, what I'm going to do, this is empty for the first time, right? I'm going to say xd. Okay. So if I do this, it should just say, so if I go to target, where's target? What? Hello? Okay, so yes. Am I blind? Where did the target go? Hello? What the heck? Okay. target already exists. Where is it? Am I blind? What the fuck just happened? There's no target folder. What are you saying? LS? It says target exists, but I can't see it here. What just happened? Is it hidden? I have a hidden folder. They're supposed to be shown, yeah. What the frick? What? Okay, if I type target, I navigate to the folder, but the folder doesn't actually exist. What the fuck? Okay, I'm extremely confused. I mean, it did copy it correctly. I am so confused. Copy file, adding settings, system cat control. So there's /y and there's, I remember, another slash. Following target, ignore errors, suspend, display, xcop message, display list of no, create destination, one file, this does not support encryption. There's a parameter that allows you to create the destination folder if the folder doesn't exist. Copies file from source that exists on destination only. No. Copies directories and subdirectories unless they are empty. If you omit /s, xcopy works with a single directory. Copy. I'm not quite sure what happened. OBS decided to cut off my stream. What? What you cut off? OBS disconnected and reconnected. What? Hello? Okay. Sure. We're still on. Is the stream still going? Yeah, it is. That's weird. What? Okay. Sure. Anyways, moving on. Copy read only. Copies. Yeah, just /y. Okay, I mean it works, but target is not here. I don't see target. How is it hidden? Like, I'm so goddamn confused. RM target cannot remove target as a directory. RM was it /r? LS. All right, so I removed target. I don't know how. This is so weird. Target. If I put my command again. It's right here. That is so weird. Whatever, it's fine. Okay, so this works. This is the command that I want, essentially. Right? So here's what I want to do, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and absolute gentlemen. I would like to. Does this work with preprocessor commands? I really hope so. I would like to try it. Right? So what I want to do is try this. Solution directory. So I want to say, oh yes, it does. Oh, that is absolutely beautiful. Okay, this works. This is really, really nice. The fact that this works, this is really cool. Okay, so essentially, I would like to do the following. In build, in core, in bin, x64, debug, core.dl, right? I want that entire thing. So I can just copy this, all of this. Press enter multiple times. So C content user repo Vulkan. Just make sure this path is the same. Build core bin x64 debug. Fantastic. Slash core.dl. Right? This is what I want to copy. Now the destination that I want to copy it to is the following. It's going to be content build, but not so build. Where's build here? Instead of here, this is going to be called sandbox. right? Sandbox bin. Hmm. So I'm thinking to myself, do I want this to be a post-build event, or do I want Sandbox to be a pre-build event? Like the copying part. I think I want to change this. Hold on. I think so. Instead of the core, okay. So before what I was thinking is after the core engine builds, in the post-build event, it's going to copy the DLL into Sandbox. But now what I'm thinking is do this post-build event in Sandbox. So after Sandbox finishes building, it's gonna copy the DLL. All right. So that means this is gonna be here. And this project name would be core. So build core bin 132 blah blah. Okay, and it's gonna copy it into this destination, right? So X copy. I want to copy this. Okay. And I would like to copy it over here with a nice /y. Okay. All right. So let's test this and see if this works. So again, to review this, just for those who didn't get it or whatever. So here's what's gonna happen. We are gonna X copy the core.dll, which exists in this location, build core bin winter2 debug, right? I'm gonna copy it to this destination, blah blah blah, Vulkan build sandbox winter2 debug, and /y to if it already exists, it's gonna override it, right? So let's test that out. Let's see if that works. All right, so if I go to build, I want to make sure I delete everything. Delete this. I want to keep the includes, obviously, because I did that manually. Delete all of that. All right, and let's rebuild and see if that works. So what I'm expecting here, right? So if I look at my log, everything built correctly. If I go to build sandbox bin x64 debug, I should see my core.dl, which exists over here. It's fantastic. So it copied it automatically for me. To prove that, again, I'm just going to delete it. I'm just going to rebuild. And you can see it's going to pop up now in a second. And there you go. It copied it automatically. So now it's all this is automated. So if I press play, it says hello render, hello engine, hello world. All right. So we got all that set up, which is really freaking cool. All right. Now we've done all of that. The next thing on my list that I would like to do is, but this is getting a 2-hour video, so I think I'm gonna stop here, take a small break, and come back. The next thing I want to do is automate copying the include files. Right? I want to automate all the headers. And I think this can be done easily. Same thing with Xcopy. Alright, this can be done easily with Xcopy, same exact way, which is going to be cool. Alright, okay. So I'm going to take a small break, and then I'll come back in a bit and do that. Alright, see you guys. I don't know, maybe it's going to be like an hour, 2-hour break.